Welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. One of the horrors that many people in this community have experienced is narcissistic neighbours, and maybe you're battling with one right now. You're not alone. I've been through this too. It's awful because our homes are supposed to be our sanctity, our soft place to relax, rewind and recuperate. And it's delightful when we have lovely neighbours, people who we can connect to for support, community, friendship, and even a helping hand when in need. But what happens when you have the nightmare neighbour whereby you can be perpetually on edge or even literally terrorised in your own home? How do you survive these people? Can you turn it all around? Or do you have to move to a new home? So let's get into it, and we're going to find out in today's Thriver TV episode. But before we do, thank you everyone who subscribed to my channel and for supporting the Thriver mission. If you haven't yet subscribed, I want to remind you to please do. And if you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button. All right, let's dive in. A common trait of narcissistic neighbours is their victim mentality, that other people are always encroaching on them or doing the wrong thing by them. They may state that your bins should not be placed where they are for garbage removal because it affects them driving in or out or getting access to the mailbox. They may complain that your animal walked across their lawn without their permission. And if your child's ball goes over their fence, they may rant and rave about it and even refuse to return it. If you or somebody visiting you, even for a moment, parks across their driveway, even if only overhanging an inch, this neighbour may knock on your door and blast you for it. Your narcissistic neighbour may even go to authorities such as the council or a body corporate and make petty or fabricated complaints about you. I used to live next door to a horrible narcissistic woman who was always complaining incessantly about everything on the unit block, and I so hope she's not watching this episode. If she is, so be it. Being her immediate wall-to-wall neighbour, I copped it the most. The depth and width of her complaints seemed endless, and it seemed like every day this woman was showing up at my doorstep complaining about something I had or hadn't done, and even poor Tiggy was targeted by her. She told me that he hunted birds and he is seriously too well fed and lazy to even hunt birds. He doesn't hunt birds. I spent a great deal of my time at this property on edge every time I saw her walk up the driveway, or if I had anyone at my place make any noise that she could hear. And she also tried to put me into authorities for several things and made unreasonable demands in order to try to get things done to her property for free, and quite frankly was making my life a living hell. And it's so interesting that people like this, especially narcissists, live by the rules, do as I say and not as I do. Commonly, if not always, this person will be a serial offender themselves. And this was certainly the case with my horrible neighbour. Narcissistic neighbours, like all narcissists, have all the justifications to do what they accuse you of doing. And maybe the nightmare neighbour in your life regularly blocks your driveway and starts power tools late at night, or dumps rubbish on your property, or plays loud music into the early hours of the morning, or has raucous fights with their partner or family that disrupt your peace. Maybe this neighbour's yard or front porch is full of rubbish and mess, and they don't care about how it affects other neighbours or conjoining homes or apartments. And that was definitely my nightmare neighbour. One thing out of place on your place, and she was knocking on your door and her place looked like a tip. Perhaps they have started, your nightmare neighbour, building or erecting or modifying things on your joint boundary without your permission. And possibly the narcissistic neighbour has a pet that is creating damage or serious noise pollution, and they refuse to do anything about it. This neighbour may ask to borrow things from you and then damage the item and telling you it was already like that or just not return it to you. The truth is narcissists don't have a peripheral. They don't care about other people and their comfort and needs. It's all about them and their own agendas. So I know that some of you, and my heart goes out to you, have had to deal with narcissistic neighbours with zero conscience and truly criminal intent. Maybe your experience with a narcissistic neighbour has been so terrible that you've been physically threatened, or you suspect or know that they've broken into your property. Maybe this sociopathic person has performed malicious acts designed to intimidate and harass you and even hurt your loved ones or pets. And naturally, this could be terrifying and cause you a great deal of trauma and distress. So how do you know if your neighbour is narcissistic or not? As thrivers learning to be healthy, healed, authentic people in every area of our life, we need to rise up and get past the fear of confrontation. So let me explain to you with this example, and I've talked about this before. Many years ago, I had a neighbour that was constantly blocking my driveway, and it disturbed me greatly. I felt violated. And if I was on the phone to a girlfriend, I'd look out the window and tell her how terrible it was that this was happening to me. But was I being responsible for my own boundaries and well-being? No, I wasn't. Back then, I was terrified of confronting people and having the difficult conversations because of my own inner terrors of crap. The feelings that if I spoke up about my needs, that I'd be criticised, rejected, abandoned, or punished by people. After doing the deep inner work to heal these fears, I knew it was my responsibility to knock on the door and have a conversation with that homeowner and ask for what I needed. Nowadays, if I have friends in my life complaining about people in their life, I ask them, have you gone to this person and told them honestly what's going on for you? And invariably, the complaining people, they haven't. And I know exactly why they haven't. They're terrified about asserting their truth and maybe pissing people off. And they may make excuses for not speaking up, just as I used to. This is the thing, with anyone in our life, narcissist or non-narcissist, it's up to us to confront, be honest and solid about what we need in clear and powerful ways. And this person may or may not respond healthily. However, we grant them the opportunity to, and for the situation to be rectified. If this person is non-narcissistic, they generally will acknowledge you and work in with you to rectify a situation, and in most cases the results will be wonderful. People aren't mind readers, and we need to get past the righteous belief that people should just know what the right thing is to do. The truth is that it's our job to teach other people in our life experiences how to treat us. People who don't treat us respectfully are aides. They're angels in disguise posing as thoughtless people, awakening us to anchor into our own inner power of authenticity, self-respect and truthfulness in relation to the care, value and respect we have for ourselves. All of us as thriving adults have to be able to heal and mature ourselves up enough to speak up honestly and truthfully and be prepared to have the difficult conversations. So what would you expect if your neighbour is a narcissist? After working on your inner terrors of not being able to put your best foot forward, and my NARC program is the quantum tool to help you break through in this area, and speaking up for what you need, you will know whether this person is capable of working in with you in harmonious ways or not. Traditionally, a narcissist will refuse to be remorseful or take responsibility. He or she may reject any notion that they did anything wrong or that there's any need for them to course correct or cease what they're doing. He or she will commonly throw off with tit-for-tat comments about what you've been doing to them. So, how can we step up to combat a narcissistic neighbour? How can we do it? This is where the inner work is so important. People ask me all the time, how does doing that, whatever that is, work with this particular narcissist in my life? And I want you to understand that the foundation to how we deal with any narcissist in our life is identical. These are the 2 steps. Number 1, know it is our own job to honour and walk our truth and boundaries regardless of what somebody else is or isn't doing. And 2, go inside, self-partner, use NARP to address, release and reprogram the fears and traumas that the narcissist is triggering off within you, and then emerge fearless and emotionally solid to take action for the next steps. By creating this inner foundation first and foremost, you are no longer derailed and emotionally hijacked. You can be clear, systematic, and methodical in how you challenge this. When my narcissistic neighbour upped her ante and started pulling in authorities and neighbours to bully me, I knew I had to do something. I knew I needed to go quantum, so I did. I stopped playing victim and complaining to everybody about her, and recognized that this was an incredible opportunity to evolve into my own power and truth and generate my healthy life regardless of her attempts. The following is what I did, which I now help clients and NARPers work with to combat their troublesome narcissists in every area of their life, not just neighbours as well. And please note, without the inner work and keeping on top of the purging and detoxifying of all inner trauma triggered, this may not and usually won't work. We have to get very clear. It doesn't matter what you are doing to combat a narcissistic abuser in your life if you are not taking care of your beingness as your first point of action continually. Then your results, so within, so without, if you're not taking care of it, will reflect more of your traumatized beingness and not any of the doingness, regardless of how much effort you are putting in. Okay, so here is the powerful formula to combat any narcissistic neighbour, regardless of the level of attacks, after working on yourself to lose the fear of them. This is what I did. I created an email regarding all of her complaints against me, copied the other owners in, as well as the body corporate manager, and unemotionally listed her grievances, the dates and the times that they were made. I then wrote what I was prepared to do to resolve them and what I wasn't prepared to do to comply to her complaints, as well as calmly and logically stating why not. I then asked on these emails for every unresolved point for her to respond to the group email with her next suggestion for resolution. I enjoyed creating and adding to the list with each and every new grievance and threat that she inflicted on me. She was now exposed. Other eyes were watching. She had no suggestions for resolution, and suddenly she stopped complaining to me about things. The other owners that she'd been smearing me to came to me shocked by her behaviour because it was all exposed and they saw she didn't respond. And they were shocked by what she'd been demanding and threatening, and she apologised for what they'd believed about me regarding her smear campaigns. I then wrote another group email regarding my grievances with her and asked for what I wished for as a resolution and invited her input for a solution. Again, nothing was forthcoming from her. I was doing so many shifts on my inner being with the NARP processes about her anytime I felt any triggered emotion within, that I was now comfortable to bump into her on the apartment property. I was just simply getting about my life, holding my head high without feeling any dread about her whatsoever. And I was, by this stage, reveling in the opportunity for my up-leveling into inner solidness and foundations and the knowing of how to live powerfully narc-proof. It was a really exciting time of growth for me. She, on the other hand, switched from stalking and terrorising my every move to hiding from me. At the next body corporate meeting, I was armed with all the facts, my correspondence, and invitations to seek resolution and her non-compliance with any of it. She unraveled in front of everyone when I emotionally, unemotionally, and factually read out the details. She got nasty, blamed her behaviour on her health problems, and she had nowhere to hide. Not long after that, she put her house on the market, sold up, and moved out. And of course she did, because this was just another narcissist not getting narcissistic supply and not being able to operate as a narcissist. It means they've got to go. They've got to go and do it somewhere else, because there's no other option. They've got to get out. My new neighbour who moved in is beautiful. I couldn't ask for more of a delightful lady to live next door to. She's just awesome. And ironically, she has exactly the same name. So I call her the nice one and the other one was the evil one. So see what happens when we change ourselves from the inside out and then we show up in our life as our new self. It transforms everything. We generate a soul graduation and then everything shifts to match that. So let's have a look at this necessary inner shift, inner freedom and power. This is the thing. Narcissistic neighbours, like all narcissists, trigger off within us our unhealed terrors, granting us the incredible opportunity to heal these terrors and evolve ourselves. The healing we generate means not just emerging safe from what we were going through, but also to live free of these terrors forevermore going forward. I am so grateful for my narcissistic neighbour. She was such a wonderful aid, and her shenanigans, because at my time with her, I was able to release my inner fears of authorities, being thrown out by my community and people, feeling guilty, bad or wrong for things that I was or wasn't doing. And also my terrors of trying to have my rights and my privacy in life without people violating my boundaries. I got to clean it all up. Such a gift. I really want you to understand that every narcissist in your life is granting you a soul journey of incredible power, divinity, and evolution too, when you're prepared to turn inwards and do the work, and then enter the arena with a narcissist in a way that you never have before, a way that works. And I know that you may feel like the narcissist in your life is too bad for you to do this with, yet I promise you, this person behind the mask is powerless when you heal within you the traumas that they've been using as the bullets to fire at you. And this goes for any narcissist. So I so hope that this video has helped. And if you know it's time to graduate, stand up and get powerful, I'm here to help you. Let's do this together. All you need to do to get started is click the link at the top right of this video. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe, that you'll be notified as soon as each new one is released. And if you liked this, click like. Also, please share with your communities so that we can help people awaken to these truths. So did this resonate with you? Are you excited about up-leveling and taking this newfound power on to combat any narcissist who is bullying you? I'd love to hear about this in your comments and your questions below. So until the next one, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.